and welcome to your messages for the week. Today is Sunday, the 23rd of February, 2025. And these are your messages for the week from me. Oh, they wanted to come out, didn't they? From me, Deborah Jane Sutton. You can find out more about me and the things that you do. I can't be bothered to re-record the things that I do. See, we're all connected. From my website at deborahjanesutton.com, Facebook, Deborah Jane Sutton, and of course here on YouTube. Have a good look around, have a good browse around. There's a whole section on lessons in awakening. There's a whole section on self-healing techniques, a whole section on interviews and chats, and a section with my good friend Liz Nagel on self-mastery. So take a good look around. There's even 4 videos in Spanish, but I wouldn't look at those if I was you. Cringe-worthy. Anyway, welcome to your messages for the week. So we're in the last week of February 2025. Super exciting. I've been finding this year is just off the scale. If you haven't seen the messages for the month of February, link in the description, video in the end screen, all about your destiny unfolding. And I'm really, really feeling that. And also, I don't know whether you're noticing, I'm just noticing that everything is exceeding my expectations and going beyond my imagination. And I think this is one of the reasons that when we're taught in the law of attraction to focus on what we want. And it's so important, I think, to understand that I think we have no idea of the infinite possibilities that are available to us. So when we focus on what we want, that desire is coming from a very limited human mind. So I personally suggest that you don't get too specific about what it is that you want, and just welcome in whatever is best for your highest good, so that the universe can then help you exceed your expectations. Because things are happening around me, in my life and around me, that I would never have dreamt of. I couldn't, in my wildest dreams, have dreamt of them. And my mind is blown. So if you had said to me, "Oh, write down your wish list," anything to do with writing down a wish list, unless it's automatic writing, it's going to be coming from a limited human perspective. So I think it's really important to just open up to the highest possibility for your highest good, so that you can have your mind blown as well. But having said that, I'm also noticing it's almost like scraping a barrel of, this kind of spiral of evolution, where we go and revisit old wounds and we revisit old stories. I mean, I am sure you've also had experiences where you thought, "Oh, I thought I had dealt with that. I thought I'd dealt with that emotional issue. I thought I'd dealt with that, belief issue or whatever, or that physical issue or whatever it might have been." But this spiral is coming around. And I believe that it's because, we might deal with it in a certain way when we're only aware of the physical. And then we might deal with it in a different way when we're aware of the emotional body that we have. And then we might deal with it in a different way when we're aware of our mental body, our mental energy body. And of course, when we understand that everything, from a spiritual perspective, or, from the metaphysical perspective, we can understand things completely differently again. So I believe that this is why old wounds are coming up again and again, so that we can deal with them from that higher level of consciousness. And I had that experience myself this week, where I was like, "Oh, here we go again." I thought I'd dealt with this. And then I'm dealing with it again at a different level of consciousness. And I think that's why stuff comes back. So it's just about being open and aware, and working with it and realizing that there is only you that can work with it, because there is only you, right? So there's only you that can work with it. And if there are people outside of you that you're reaching out for help, don't be surprised if they don't help you or can't help you, because that's your lesson in realizing that there is only you that can change, Remember, the outside is a reflection of the inside. So when you're reaching out for help, I mean, sometimes, of course, we do that. And I think that is part of the community coming together when we talk about, this illusion of separation is the universe choosing to experience and express itself in its entirety, which is why we're all so unique, because the universe wants to experience everything as much as possible. But I also believe, and that's why I believe that we can all self-heal, as there is only us, right? And the outside is the reflection. But having said that, if you look at it from a different perspective, I see it very much that we're all walking each other home. We're walking each other home because there are some really, I'm sure there are some very special people in your life as well. And you meeting people that are helping you all the time. It could be your animals, it could be close family, it could be all these triggers and all these glimmers, these positive triggers, or however we want to view it. But all these people, I think it's the universe coming together again in its oneness, and it's like we're walking each other home. So as we do that, we get that connection with each other. You meet someone and you have that intense connection with them, and it might last a short time, it might last longer, might last a lifetime. It doesn't matter, does it? It's just showing the connection between all of us as the universe walks itself back home, if that makes sense. We are all part of the universe, right? We are all the whole universe in one human being. Have I not quoted Rumi recently? You're not just a drop in the ocean, you're the whole ocean in one drop. So you're not just a human being in the universe, you're the whole universe in one human being. So yeah, it's kind of different ways of looking at things, but there might be quite a bit. I think there's quite a lot of that scraping the barrel of old, stale, trapped emotions and stories and wound stories coming up as well. Just for reflection, just to have a look, acknowledge it, and just see if we can process it at a different level of consciousness as we go up the spiral of evolution, shall we say. Okay, that was me going off on one already. We have three cards out. I think that's going to be it, to be honest. They're face down, so I can't see them. If you would like to learn to read tarot for yourself, that 1 week to go, a week tomorrow, on Monday, the 3rd of March, I start my Learn to Read Tarot course. And if you want to join, all the details are on the homepage of my website at deborahjoneshatton.com, link in the description. So it's a 5-week online course. All the sessions are recorded. So if you can't make a session, you still get the recording. And there's a group email as well. So if you have any questions at any time, you can pop them in the group email, and for everyone to also benefit from the answers. And yeah, it's great. I mean, previous courses, people have got on really well with each other and started practicing to read tarot with each other in their own time. And no, it's lovely. It's about bringing the wisdom of tarot into your own life, covering all the basic interpretations of tarot, including my own interpretations. You've got the elements, the numbers, the astrology, and of course the pictures. Of course, I've got so much detail in them. We use the Rider-Waite deck, which is what I'm using today, and I usually do use it at this time. And so also we look at spreads and different ways to shuffle. And my favorite part, though, of course, is encouraging people to tap in and heighten their own intuition, so that they can really nurture their own unique tarot reading style, because no two people are going to read tarot the same. So it's really important to use tarot is going to be like an extension of your own consciousness. So yeah, when you look at it like that, it's a powerful tool, both for your own guidance and if you're reading for other people, to help other people with theirs. So yeah, get in touch if you want to join. All right, let's have a look. Let's take a breath and activate your own intuition as we dive in. Interesting that the 8 of Cups is coming up, because this is my trigger card, and I've literally just talked about scraping the barrel of of trapped emotions and wound stories, because these are emotions. Cups are the water sign. They represent emotions, spirituality, intuition, and creativity. The moon represents subconscious fears in life. So this is subconscious stuff because we're not aware, that we've still got these trapped emotions from whatever trauma. We've been working on it and we think we've dealt with it and we feel so much better. Because every time we release something, every time we every time we process one of these trapped emotions or one of these thoughts, it could be releasing a thought, it just kind of feeling into something and allowing it to flow through, allowing whatever uncomfortable feeling it is. Every time we do that, our frequency rises. Of course it does, because it's a low frequency emotion that we're allowing to flow through us. Um, so our frequency then rises, and that's why our life gets better and better and better. And that's why everything's exceeding our expectations. Well, that along with the fact that we have Pluto now in Aquarius, and Aquarius is known for expecting the unexpected. So yeah, there's lots of things going on. But this card is saying what I've just said, about the fact that don't be surprised if there are triggers coming up. And these triggers don't have to be really serious triggers at this stage of your awakening. It could be just judgments. They could be judgments about people, or situations. You might meet someone and then make a judgment, and you'll think, okay, that's still a mirror. That's still a mirror. So whatever judgment, whatever thought you have about them. So we've talked about triggers whereby, and I have a video, Understanding Triggers, number 11 in the Lessons in Awakening. I'll put it in the description, the link in the description. That's usually when an emotion is triggered, but you might meet somebody and make a judgment about them, and that's when a belief is being triggered. So this trigger work can keep going, but also you can have what we call positive triggers. I think I called them glimmers before, where everyone's a mirror, right? So when you meet somebody lovely, I'm sure you're meeting lots of lovely people in your life. Well, that's because they're mirroring back to you just how lovely you are. Okay, so it's also, let's focus on that positive glimmer, the positive triggers where the mirrors are showing you just how wonderful and beautiful you are. And when you meet that or you experience that, you might see something online, or it might be a situation, an activity, or a person, or an animal, or a video, or a book, or whatever it is. But if it makes you feel expanded inside, then that's a beautiful feeling, isn't it? Although I have to be honest with this card, because he's retreating into his cave, I do view this as it being an uncomfortable emotion that's come up, because he's not pointing fingers at the person who's holding the mirror. He's not blaming them. He's not pointing fingers. He's just feeling the emotion and going away on his own to process it. He's going into his cave to process that feeling, and he knows not to react, and he knows that the person holding the mirror has nothing to do with the situation. He understands how he creates his own reality from the frequency of whatever's inside of him. So he takes responsibility for that emotion being inside of him, and that's why it got reflected back to him by whoever was holding the mirror. Right. So we know all of that from Understanding Triggers. So this is what I was saying before about there are still emotions coming up. Can we deal with them from a higher level of consciousness? Is there now a belief that we can change, a judgment perhaps that we have? I've also got a video on do the turnaround on your judgments. I'll put a link into that one as well, because with Byron Katie's work, very much it's about you're triggered and then you do the turnaround, and you're like, okay, whatever you feel towards that person that you're blaming, remember when you point your finger, there's three fingers pointing back at you. So whatever emotion or whatever you're feeling about that person is actually a message for you. Okay. So with the Byron Katie work, it works very much on triggered emotions, but also when you make a judgment. So in this other video, I do the turnaround just on the judgments. So you meet someone, you have a judgment about them. Let's say it's an unfavorable judgment. It could be a positive judgment, of course. Oh, isn't she lovely? And you're like, yeah, because you are. Okay, but it could be something about her is off. Okay, what is it? Okay, because whatever it is, it's still a mirror. Okay. And then you can just reflect. He's reflecting. It's just going into your cave on your own, taking responsibility for the reality that you've created from the frequency that you are. So sometimes these beliefs and these emotions, they run so deep and they're coming up again to be acknowledged and dealt with at a higher level of consciousness. One of the books that I really like, I think it's Evette Rose. It's Metaphysical Anatomy, and it goes through a lot of symptoms, mainly physical, but I think there are some emotional ones in there as well. And it talks about the metaphysical explanation, not the physical reason, not even the emotional, but it goes through the mental and the metaphysical explanation for various physical and emotional ailments. It's interesting. I'll check out a link. I have to make a note, otherwise I forget. And I'll put it in the description because you might be interested. For some reason it came out of my mouth. Let's have a look at understanding where we're going to spend our time, money, and energy. So twos are decisions. Two of Pentacles. Pentacles is very much resources, time, money, energy. He's coming up, I think, because we all need a little bit more solitude than we're giving ourselves. Solitude is a powerful healer. The solitude that we have is what brings up what's at our core, because even when we're with loved ones and we're relaxing, a lot of what we do is still distracting, we still don't dive deep into our wounds. Yeah, that's why it's come up on the heels of this one, because in this reflection of whatever it is that's come up, there may well be like somebody might come to your mind that can help you with your healing. So that would involve time, money, and energy to spend on that, perhaps. He's weighing up and he's multitasking. This guy's multitasking and he's weighing up how to spend his pentacles, which in my interpretation is abundance. So does he need time out in order to process this? Does he need to go and learn the emotion code, for example? Are there things that he needs to do? Are there videos he needs to watch, maybe? Or whatever it may be. So, spending your time, your money, and your energy, yes, in whatever you need at this time. So, and because it's come on the heels of this, I think it is connected to emotional healing, or a way to process these emotions, because it could be go and do what you love. A lot of people might paint. Artists might paint and they get their emotions out on the canvas, don't they? A musician might go and play their instrument and they can get their emotions out on the instrument. Some people can practice yoga. They might sit on their yoga mat and do some intuitive yoga, which might make them fill up with joy, or it might make them cry, or what have you, but it's processing emotions. Some people might go for a walk in nature on their own, hug a tree. Sometimes you can hug a tree and feel the joy, and sometimes you can hug a tree and want to cry, right? He's basically saying, how do you want to process these emotions? What can you do to honor the emotions coming up inside? And the last card this week, we've got the Queen of Wands. She really is the witch. For me, she's a witch. She's got the wand and she's got the black cat. The sunflower represents happiness, but the Queen of Wands is fire. So it's very much transformational, and it's bold, it's courageous, assertive. She's no one's fool. She's very independent, but she uses her own healing abilities. She's very intuitive, but she's very assertive. She's bold. She doesn't worry about what other people are saying or doing. She just gets on with doing what she wants. And the main thing about her is that she can't be governed by other people. And this is something I think I mentioned before. You know, I know it sounds like a contradiction because we are all helping each other, but there's a time where we almost need to feel the loneliness in order to realize that there is only us that can change on the inside. But as soon as you kind of realize that, then the people that you need will come in to help and support. But the change in choices, the change in thinking, the change in action, this all has to come from within you. But the right people will come at the right time to help you with that change. But they can't change anything for you. Nobody outside of you can change anything for you. So any change has to come in, you know, like if you said to somebody, I don't know, whatever it might be, if you really loved me, you would do blah, blah, blah. I was thinking about that earlier on. If you ever find yourself saying, even if you're saying it flippantly to somebody, if you really loved me, you wouldn't do da, 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 da. Well, if you've ever said that to somebody, you know for sure that there's a part of you that doesn't love you. And so you need to, oh my goodness, what part of me is it I'm not loving? What is it I want them to do? If you really loved me, you would do blah, blah, blah. What is blah, blah, blah? Because whatever it is you want them to do, you need to do for yourself. Oh, that's an interesting one, isn't it? If you've ever said that and if that comes up. Well, that came out. So that must be relevant for someone somewhere, probably me, as always. So she's a powerful card. She governs herself. She will certainly not be governed by anybody outside of her. She will do what she wants, when she wants, how she wants, with who she wants, where she wants. And she doesn't necessarily do it in an arrogant way, but she just does it in a confident, bold, courageous way, if that makes sense. I mean, if there was going to be a queen that was a little bit arrogant, it would be the wands. It's just that I see the positive in everybody. So I see her as assertive and dedicated to her cause and things like that. So yeah, be the Queen of Wands, definitely, and be more witchy because she is her own healer. And she follows her own intuitive guidance. She doesn't care what other people are saying, not in a negative way, but just she governs herself. She's sovereign. That's the word I want to say. She's totally sovereign. So what's beautiful is that once we can process, and this could be on a big scale, breakdown, meltdown, or this could just be a little, oh, that's interesting that emotion came by. There's different scales for different people, depending where you are on your journey, depending what lesson you have, depending what's coming up for acknowledgement. How are you going to spend your time, money, and energy in order to nurture yourself and to love yourself that little bit more? Because the more we understand who we are and the more we expand into all of who we are, the more of us there is to love. That's how I look at it. That's why the journey of self-love is an ongoing one, because there's always more of us to love, right? Because we're expanding. So this is about how you're going to spend your time, money, and energy in looking after yourself so that you can evolve through this, adversity, whatever you want to call it, through this challenge, through this inner work, whatever you want to call it, into the Queen of Wands, where we can be confident and sovereign and enjoying our life and not governed by anybody else, have that independence and enjoy it, the freedom. I want to say freedom again. It's a very Aquarius word, Aquarian word. It's all part of this Pluto and Aquarius. Freedom is so important to all of us at this time. The Queen of Wands is definitely embracing her freedom. That doesn't mean she doesn't work with other people. Doesn't mean that she's It doesn't mean that she has to be single. It doesn't mean that she doesn't have children or pets or anything else. But it's just about finding that freedom where you can just float from one activity to the other in a state of expansion. That's what I want to say. Floating from one experience to another. in a state of expansion. Wow. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. Yeah. Floating from one experience to another. Yeah. In a state of expansion. No, I like that. We have March coming in next weekend. So look out for the messages for the month of March and get in touch if you want to join my Learn to Read Tarot course starting next week. So there's still spaces available for that as well. Have a fantastic week. Love you all. See you in the next video.